Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushaq, choose what really matters.
Over in China, Xi Jinping is struggling to keep the lights on. His hybrid economy is literally going dark. There is no power at factories, no electricity in homes. Even traffic lights and street lamps are being turned off. This energy crunch started in pockets. A handful of factories were shutting down in August. Now it's a national crisis. At least 21 provinces have been affected. That's more than half the country. Even ordinary Chinese citizens are feeling the pinch. No mobile networks, no elevators, no lights. China is halfway back to the Stone Age. How did this happen? How does a country just run out of power? Over-dependence on coal, that's how it happens. 56% of China's power comes from coal. But their stock is running out. China's biggest power companies hold 11.31 million tons of coal. It might sound like a lot, but factor in China's population and its factories. This stock could run out in 15 days. That's how dire the situation is. So why isn't the Chinese government intervening? Well, they did try, but things went from bad to worse. Coal prices were already shooting up. Producers were struggling to keep up. What did Beijing do? Impose new emission targets. They scaled down coal production further. So supply came down and prices went up. This energy crunch is not a gift from market forces. It's a bitter pill from Beijing. Listen to this Chinese factory owner describe his helplessness.
As far as I know, this is the first time Shenyang has had power curbs. I've definitely had some losses, and I'm renting a power generator, which is costing me $464 plus diesel costs. So that comes to a cost of about $1,083 to $1,547 a day. If you were using grid electricity, then it's just over $155 a day. This is the situation now. The power curbs lasted for 4 days. To be honest, we can afford it. But if it goes on longer, then the costs are too much and we won't survive.
That's a grim picture. Factories cannot keep using generators. The cost is way too high, and the higher the cost, the lesser the profits. Let me show you China's latest factory data. The Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, was 50.1 in August. It slipped to 49.6 in September. What does this even mean? China's factory output contracted this month. That's what it means. It is happening for the first time since February 2020. So all the talk about China's dragon-paced recovery can stop. Top banks are revising their projections for China. Goldman Sachs is the latest. Their first growth forecast for China was 8.2%. The new one is 7.8%. They say around 44% of China's industrial activity has been affected, and this will trigger a chain reaction. Chinese factories supply top multinational companies, companies like Apple and Tesla. What happens if their supply is shut down? Well, two things happen: shortages and price rise. And I'm not just talking about the Chinese market, I'm talking about everywhere in the world. That's the cost of depending on Chinese supply chains. But let's forget about the macroeconomics. Let's forget about supply chains and emissions. Let's focus on the Chinese people for a moment. Their homes have no electricity, their shops have no generators, and none of this is their fault. They are being sacrificed for Xi Jinping's PR exercise. He wants clear skies at the Winter Olympics next year. He wants to show off at the Glasgow Climate Summit in November. So he leaves half the country in darkness. And the sad part is this: many Chinese still believe that the party will help them, when in fact the party is the problem. This energy crisis was years in the making. For decades, China kept chugging coal. They did not plan for climate change, nor did they invest in green energy. And now Beijing is giving its people a shock treatment, like slapping a band-aid on a bullet wound. Things could get worse in the coming months. Winter is the worst time to ration power, you see. Chinese families may not have enough electricity to heat their homes. What happens then? Will the obedient Communist Party men remain loyal, or will they fight for the family's welfare? WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushaq, choose what really matters.